Hello guys, this is Christopher from CMM with the first impression video about the Ulefone Gemini Pro, which is the flagship version of the budget dual camera smartphone Ulefone Gemini. So before we got into the first impressions, let's first cover the specs. This phone packs a 5.5-inch Full HD IPS OGS LCD screen with Gorilla Glass 3 and a 5-point touchscreen. We've got a MediaTek Helio X27 processor, which is kind of the second most powerful CPU MediaTek does offer right now. The processor is supported by 4GB of LPDDR3 RAM, and we also have 64GB of internal memory in there. The camera hardware packs an 8-megapixel front shooter with front LED flash, and we also have a dual rear camera based on two Sony IMX258 sensors, which are 13 megapixel sensors. One does color pictures, one does black and white pictures, and there also is a quad LED flash. Also, we've got a dual SIM slot, which is a hybrid slot, so you can also swap out the second SIM card for a micro SD card. We've got support for band 20 LTE, we've got support for ABGNAC Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.1, GPS, AGPS, GLONASS and BDS. The battery inside this thing is 3680 mAh in size. It supports Pump Express Plus 2.0 fast charging, and the operating system running on there is Android 7.1.1 Nougat with security patch from May 2017. So design-wise, the Ulefone Gemini Pro is very similar to the Umidigi Z Pro. In fact, it's almost the same device, just with a few minor differences for the front camera and the overall design. The Umidigi Z Pro has this sharp edge on the transition to the rear, which is missing on the Ulefone Gemini Pro. It has a smooth transition to the rear, slightly curved, feels very nice. Overall build quality is great. There are no rattling parts or any large gaps, and the whole thing is made from metal and it is very sturdy, so really no complaints here. So on the rear, in the upper left corner, we have the dual camera module along the quad LED flash, and we also have an environmental microphone. In the center we have a Ulefone logo, and of course you also got some antenna lines on the bottom and the top. If we look around the phone, on the left side we've got the SIM tray, on the top we've got the headphone jack, on the right side we've got buttons for volume up, volume down and power, and on the lower side we've got a USB Type-C jack, which is a standard size, so every cable will fit there. And we also got the microphone and the media speaker here, which is a mono speaker. On the front we find a 2.5D glass cover made from Gorilla Glass 3, and we also have a touch home button which acts as a fingerprint scanner as well as for navigation. And on the top, the aforementioned front LED flash, a status LED, a front camera and the phone receiver. So the overall screen quality is pretty good. It offers nice colors, decent contrast is very sharp, and what's great to see is that they finally fixed this bright area on the screen's bottom. The Umidigi Z and the Umidigi Z Pro both had this issue, and also the Ulefone Gemini Pro had it in the beginning, but now the phone is on the market for quite a while and they finally fixed it. This is a unit from a newer batch, and as you can see, there is no bright area on the screen at all, which is very decent. Overall performance of the phone is pretty good. It runs very smooth for the most part, but every now and then there is some stutter in the UI, which is very typical for Helio X27 phones. I really don't know why this is, but somehow no phone maker yet got rid of this, and it is so unfortunate to see this powerful SoC stuttering from time to time. Hopefully they will manage to fix it with some future updates, but somehow my hopes are rather small for this. Another issue they haven't fixed is heat. If you remember back, both the UMID GZ and the UMID GZ Pro got rather hot under a lot, and this is the case on the Ulefone Gemini Pro as well. If you have a look at the temperature chart here, you see that it reached a maximum temperature of 85 degrees Celsius, which is a lot, and this wasn't even while charging the phone. This was just after gaming for a long time, like 45 minutes or so. If you charge the phone while playing games, you can get much higher temperatures, up to 90 degrees Celsius, of course on the processor. This is not the temperature you will feel on the phone's rear, this is the processor temperature, so keep that in mind. But a large chunk of this actually does reach the body of the phone, so it does get hot, and yes, this can be uncomfortable at times, especially if the outdoor temperatures are rather high, for example now in summer. And there are two more issues that haven't been fixed when you compare the Ulefone Gemini Pro to the UMID GZ Pro. And that first is battery life. The Helio X27 needs a huge amount of energy. It's by far not as power efficient as MediaTek advertises it to be, or I don't really know if it's caused by the Helio X27 or just by the crappy optimization of the software. I don't know, but it's a matter of fact that all Helio X27 phones I tested until now had a bad battery life, and this is the case here as well. If you look at the screen on power consumption, it is 22.3% per hour, which is extremely high, and also in standby mode it reaches 1.6% per hour. And let's see what the deep sleep value is. Only 60% of screen on time, so there definitely is some software issue going on here as well. 4 hours of screen on time aren't much, really not enough to get through a full day. And there also is a problem with fast charging. Despite supporting Pump Express Plus 2.0, charging takes, one moment, let me open up my screenshot, there we go. Charging takes 2 hours and 9 minutes, or let's say 2 hours for 80%, so from 20 to 100% it takes 2 hours, which is a bit long for Pump Express Plus 2.0. If you compare this with some battery monsters out there, for example the Yukitel K6000 Plus, this one has a 6000 milliamps battery, this one only has a 3680 milliamps battery, and the Yukitel K6000 Plus charges within just 1 to 1.5 hours, which is much quicker, so fast charging doesn't work correctly on this one. But besides of that, not everything is bad on the Ulefone Gemini Pro. The phone actually is better than the UMID GZ Pro, and that already starts with the touchscreen, which works much better, much faster, more precise. Touch resolution isn't the best, but still it works better. What also stood out to me is that the camera is much better. The dual camera works actually really good on this one if you know how to use it. Just look at this, you can get decent results with it. Edge detection is fairly okay for a phone of this price range. You can get the Ulefone Gemini Pro at around $220 to $240 depending on available deals, but overall the dual camera does decent pictures, no doubt about that. Overall picture quality could be a bit better. In normal mode I noticed that there sometimes are unsharp spots in the pictures, especially in landscape mode, but that doesn't seem to be an issue with the lenses. This seems to be a software bug, which they might be improving over time, but I need to test the camera a bit more. But overall the first impression is pretty good on this one. Also the front LED flash for the front camera is rather good. What's also great is that this phone boasts a compass and gyroscope, and both do work excellent. Reception quality is excellent too, and that applies to mobile networks, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and GPS. I already did some GPS testing with this phone, and as you can see, we've got a very good signal strength for satellites there. We've got a very good accuracy, it's 1.7 meters, and also tracking and navigation works just fine. It's very accurate, no problems there. The operating system is up to date too, with Android 7.1.1. Of course, the security patch isn't the latest with May 2017, but the latest OTA update has been published in the beginning of June. So that's why the security patch is a bit outdated, but I think a new OTA update will be coming soon. Ulefone doesn't do them as frequent as some other phone makers. They take some time for development, but they definitely do them. So that's not a bad thing. Audio quality of the internal speaker is fairly okay too. It's not the best speaker, but it can get very loud without scratching noises, and it also has a slight bass playback, so that's good as well. And yeah, so overall it's not a bad phone, but it has the usual X27 flaws, like sometimes stereo UI, high energy consumption, and a lot of heat. So well, that's where we are right now with the first impressions. I think that's it. I have nothing more to say. Maybe fingerprint scanner. Let's just check this out before we end the video. As you can see, works well. Isn't the fastest, but it is reliable. Haven't had any issues during daily use yet. So that's it for the first impressions on Ulefone Gemini Pro. Thanks for watching. I will now test this phone 1 week in real life as my daily driver, and then do the full review on this one. So see you then. Bye bye.